Hello tanks and tankettes, welcome to a replay of mine. This is from 9.6 and it's the BDR G1B, the tier 5 French heavy tank. Now this replay falls firmly into the novelty category and you will see why. It is otherwise a decent game, but if the particular thing that happens hadn't happened, you would not be seeing this. Now there is one other thing I can talk about, and I've mentioned this previously, that sometimes people ask, you know, if you don't have a premium tank or a premium account, what's the best way to grind credits? Well, it's probably with one of these things, a tier 5 heavy tank, and I think the BDR is one of the better ones for doing it, this and the KV-1. And the BDR particularly because it has a 90mm gun and it's got the best shell damage of any of the tier 5 heavies, if you don't count the derp gun on the KV-1, which, you know, if you're spamming heat with that thing, well, it's not reliable, but when you get those penetrating hits, it can do a fair whack of damage. But that's firing prem ammo. That's not a good way to make money. Whereas this thing, just the regular shells, it's 135 average pen, 240 average damage. If you survive long enough, then yeah, you can rack up a reasonable amount of damage with this thing. And the premium ammo is actually not too bad. So even in a higher tier match, if your teammates are competent, if you get the chance to be a support gun, the BDR is a fairly nice little machine. Well, I say little, it's not that little at all really. So this particular battle, well, you can see it was very, very good matchmaking. Exceptionally good matchmaking, in fact. There are still, however, 3 artillery per team. So even though it's very, very good matchmaking, I'm still going to be a little bit worried about that. But otherwise, this is nearly as good as it gets. Now, we do have more heavy tanks than the enemy team, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything in a tier 5 match. It is a total toss-up as to how it will go because, of course, everybody... It doesn't take that long to get to tier 5, and it's not as chaotic as the very low tier battles, but it can still be fairly chaotic. And there is some flavour of that in this game as well. But I will do well enough and get enough damage that even though it's a little bit chaotic, even though I managed to waste a repair kit there, I'm still going to make a pretty decent profit. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying about if you can make the shots count, then even without a premium account you can still use these machines to grind a decent number of credits. So I didn't really fancy sitting there trading shots with that Churchill 3 with my rate of fire versus his rate of fire, especially not when he's apparently spamming premium shell. So I decided to have a poke around this area instead. And being alone here would ordinarily be a bad thing, but the matchmaking is very much in my favour, and the enemy team is really not doing much with this middle area at all. We've got a few in the north, but our Excelsior is there, and we've also got tanks pushing around from the south, but they're going to run into that Churchill and the enemy BDR. So I've just noticed that. I'm thinking, okay, I better support these guys. And the KV-1 is, he's now alone. He's versus 2 tier 5 heavies, and one of them seems to be just firing nothing but premium ammo. So this gives me a very good opportunity to A, shoot the Churchill 3 in the back, and B, potentially save this KV-1. And I don't save him, but I do buy him some more time, so he might get off 1 or 2 shots more in the meantime. The Churchill is, meanwhile, realising his peril, and we'll see in a moment that he is still firing premium ammo. But this is a perfect opportunity for me to pull back, reload, and then pop out and shoot the guy. So I'm not having to sit in full view. Whereas previously, if I'd been sat there, you know, because I missed that first shot, there's no point sitting there waiting for somebody to, waiting for your reload while they're sitting there pelting you with shells. Especially when it's something like Churchill 3. So meanwhile, our team is getting a bit wrecked, but the enemy team is also getting a bit wrecked. And this is the kind of stage 8-10, well 9-10, you know, me and one other tank. Well, I'm the last tier 5 left apart from the, well, on my team. The enemy team have got a gorilla. And actually, no, we've got 2 tier 5 arties, so I'm talking nonsense. I'm the last tier 5 heavy tank left, let's put it that way. And so this just means more damage for me at this stage. But I'm still being a bit cautious because that enemy gorilla could shave off a big chunk of my health. And, oh, hello, Hetzer. Well, I managed to high roll. He takes off 100 with his HE, and still being cautious of artillery, especially now I've taken that extra 100 damage. Probably being excessively cautious, to be honest. I really didn't need to be that hesitant, but the thing with this gun as well is that it's got a pretty long reload, so sometimes you do need to pull back for that bit longer, because there's no point hanging around while you're reloading, as I've already said, you know, taking fire from whatever. So at this point I'm thinking, okay, we'll have to go back, take care of that Valentine, but artillery is just going to be like, yeah, no problem, and blap the guy one. So he's not really going to be a problem, which means I don't have to drive all the way back. Not that it would have mattered, because we've still got plenty of time on the clock. Like, this battle's pretty much done already. So we've got 2 artillery on the enemy side left, and a Matilda. Matilda hasn't been seen. He's not AFK, so he must be camping on Little Italy, as it's somewhat erroneously known, because it doesn't really look like the Italian peninsula. I mean, it sort of does a little bit, but it's just, I guess, it's a famous peninsula. Anyway, pay attention to what happens next. The Panzer IIIA and the AMX 105 manage to derp each other at the same moment, so that gets you a specific achievement called Eye for an Eye. And you don't see that very often, 2 people kind of simultaneously killing each other. And if it'd just been that, then okay, that's a sort of a semi-rare occurrence, but it wouldn't have been worth showing the whole replay for. And oh, hello, yes, there's the Matilda. Unfortunately, my shell misses entirely, and I know I'm not going to sit in front of him while he just does Matilda things at my face. Meanwhile, the gorilla has fired, and that should have been a clue. The fact that the gorilla could fire at me there. I was thinking he was on the island, but he really isn't going to be on the island, as it turns out. But he's very well hidden, because I get to this kind of range, and note that I'm kind of sat sideways onto this guy, so it's like, oh, hello, there's a gorilla. I fire, he fires, boom. Yep, that was just yet another eye for an eye. So it wasn't just a battle where 2 people got an eye for an eye, it was 4 people got an eye for an eye, because obviously both players get it. So yeah, I also had high caliber, a bunch of other, there wasn't that unnecessary ammo rack, so I got an award for that as well. But that was just, yeah, I don't have many of those. That's only my 3rd ever. And the fact that 2 of them happened in one battle was just like, okay, that's quite silly. So, yeah, as you can see, I was just, that was perfect matchmaking. I was just able to absolutely mop up there, 1700 damage, 5 kills. I missed out getting a top gun, unfortunately. If I'd been able to kill the Hetzer, that would have been nice, or even the Matilda, but that enemy Matilda just got one-shotted by artillery, because that was completely fair and balanced. But as you can see, without premium, that would have gotten me 19k profit. With premium, it was over 30k profit. So, yeah, if you don't particularly have the money for a premium account or even a premium tank, Tier 5 heavies are where it's at. But I can't guarantee that you'll get a double eye for an eye in a battle like that. That was just one of those fluke occurrences that happens from time to time with World of Tanks. Just the sheer number of battles played, you know, these things will happen eventually if you wait long enough. So if you enjoyed this replay, short though it was, you can leave any comments below, you can hit the like button, you can subscribe to my channel, and as always, stay tuned for more.